Your value should only come from the fact that you exist, that you are the only you who has ever and will ever exist. And you just made it through, take yesterday, for example. Assuming we experience time linearly, which that's a whole other conversation, but you just made it through the only yesterday that has ever happened and ever will happen. That makes you and that day valuable. I've been posting videos for a few weeks now, and I wonder how people who know me before this would perceive that. Not that I'm going to let it affect me, but I do think about it. I can't stop fucking thinking because that's ADHD. I think if you asked anyone who knows me before this, if I had confidence, they'd probably say he's not a very confident person, whether that they mean that in a good way or a bad way. I don't really care. And it's like, well, now I'm posting these videos and I'm sharing my deepest, ponderings of the world. And I wonder if people perceive that as me being more confident. I feel like confidence is when you assign yourself a high value. The classic example is like a guy wanting to go talk to a girl, and he's like, oh, I could never talk to her. She's way out of my league. And it's like right off the bat, he's assigning himself as a low value and her as a high value. Now, without even talking to her, and it's probably just because women are valued based on their looks, as I've talked about in the last two videos, your value to a certain person or in a certain situation is relative to that person or that situation. And so the question becomes, how do you value yourself? You have to value yourself based on what? Based on some priorities? Well, those priorities aren't coming from you. They're coming from how you think you're supposed to be. You could make yourself into a person that has 100% value to another person. You check every single box they want. And theoretically, there could be another person that person you've made yourself into provides that person 0% value. When you set your priorities based on what someone else tells you you need to be, well, there's always going to be someone else who doesn't have the same priorities. Game of whack-a-mole. And so instead of trying to make yourself into someone who's valuable to other people, you make yourself valuable to you. And when you stop setting your priorities based on what other people tell you your priorities should be, the only thing that's left is just that you're you. And so the truth isn't that I perceive myself as having a higher value now. The truth is I've stopped thinking about my value altogether because I have come to the only logical conclusion, which is that you are valuable just because you exist and just because you made it through a day. I've got ADHD, which means, for me at least, it means that my mental state of being is consistently inconsistent. I can get enough sleep, I can eat healthy, I can get some exercise, and I'm still going to be feeling bad about myself. And then I can have really good days where I don't do any of that stuff and I can still feel great. And I used to get upset with myself on those bad days. Like, come on, you got to get up and do something. You got to focus. You got to produce something. You got to be something. What are your life goals? If you're not progressing towards that, well, then you wasted a whole day. It was worthless. It was useless. Well, it's only useless because I deem it useless. And I don't have to deem it useless. The only reason I'm thinking about value so hard is because of capitalism telling us that you have to be valuable, you have to be producing, or else there's no point to you. And when you accept that and you accept that your value just comes from you existing, well, those bad days, it's like, you know what? There's going to be good days and bad days, and it's out of my control. Rather than tell myself I have to force through it, I have to get up and pretend like I'm doing well, it's like, well, there's just bad days. They just happen. The fact that I existed as me in that day, the only that day that will ever exist, makes it valuable. So done, box checked. I wasn't really using TikTok before I started this page. I was just on Instagram. When I made TikTok and I started posting to it, their algorithm is so much different than the Instagram one. Instagram, I feel like it's about your image. You have to be the version of yourself that you want the world to see. When you make a creator page on TikTok, the algorithm starts feeding you content geared towards content creators, especially small ones. First of all, I think obviously it's probably just a marketing strategy to get people to use the app. But second of all, it's so much more positive around the individual. It's like, yeah, fuck it. Post every day. Post 5 times a day. Who cares? Oh, you don't look great in your video? Whatever. Post it anyway. So much of it's just people in like airport bathrooms being like, I had to record this video. Or people who just wake up and are, hit record and just start talking. And it works for both of us, right? Because they're investing in people saying, just be you, just be raw and real. And people like authenticity. It's real and it's you. And that's what we want to focus on. And, again, it works for them too, because they get a ton more people using their platform. I don't know, it feels like so much more of saying you are valuable because you are you, right? Which is kind of the whole point of this rant. And so make content as you, make content that you believe in, and put it out there and let the algorithm handle whether it goes viral or not.